Today's guest is the CEO of Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center. First thing I need to say is that your name does not match the outfit. So tell me the story behind that.
Stem cells is not a cure for everything. Stem cell is another tool that your physician has to treat any condition that you might have.
There's a lot of people that talk about conspiracy theories when it comes to cancer treatments. The cure does exist.
There are a lot of speculation about that too. I couldn't deny it.
So is the UAE a medical underdog in today's world, or is it a soon-to-be medical giant?
And we're capable to seat biggest healthcare institutions around the world.
The world kind of goes to an end because of AI takes control of the machines and learn how to manipulate cell biology. So is the world coming to an end, or are we all going to be okay?
No, I don't think so.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Inside Track with me, Luca Allam. Today's guest is the CEO of Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center. He's a specialist in all things stem cells, really.
So these are important, let's say, milestone, but not only for Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center or for the UAE, it's for the whole world.
Welcome to the show, Professor Yendry Ventura.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you. Did I say it right? Professor Yendry Ventura?
It's perfect. You can call me Yendry. Dr. Yendry is fine.
First thing I need to say is that your name does not match the outfit. So tell me the story behind that.
Well, I'm originally from Cuba. So I was born in a very humble place in Las Tunas, it's a province. And then I moved to Havana, so I'm from that part of the world. And then after I finished my specialty in immunology, a couple of years after that, I came to the UAE. So that's why the look, it doesn't feel like that. But I'm also a UAE citizen, so I have these both nationalities.
Amazing. So they gave you the passport?
Yeah.
How does it feel to be Emirati?
It feels special.
Yeah.
It feels very good, you know.
I've never met a Cuban before, so you're the first Cuban that I've had on the show.
Yeah.
I've had a half Emirati on the show, and I guess you're also now half Emirati. So between that person and you, I've had a full Emirati on the show.
Well, I feel like a full Emirati here.
Yeah,
So I'm full Cuban and full Emirati as well. So we are very, there are just a few Cubans in the UAE, and definitely just very few in the healthcare sector.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can I try and impress you with my Spanish?
Yeah, there you go.
Probably not a good idea. Después. Look, but you're definitely, if you're not the first Cuban or not the first Emirati, you're definitely the first person I've had who's an expert in stem cells, right? And all the work that you're doing around immunology. Am I saying that right?
Immunology, correct.
Yeah, immunology.
Yeah.
You're a very, very smart man. There's a lot I want to talk to you about today. But usually when I have guests on the show, the first thing I always ask them is about their mug. So what have you brought in today? I can see it says Victoria Ventura.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this.
Very special mug. It has the name of my daughter. It's a Victoria Ventura. Victoria is the name of my daughter. And there is also a slogan here, a family bond in every stage. It represents a lot for me because for me, family is the root of everything, is the reason for everything, and the purpose why we're here today.
100%. 100%.
It's inside, deep inside of me that's my anchor.
So you've been in Abu Dhabi for about 6 years, is that right?
6 years.
Okay. How has the last 6 years been for you?
Busy, very busy, but thank God, let's say successful. I'm happy that we have contributed, in bringing value to the UAE and to the society.
Yeah.
So I think that's really remarkable for the last 6 years of my professional life. Okay. And I'm also proud that this has impacted not only the UAE, but also other countries and many people around the world. So
why did you come here? What was the job that they offered you that would convince you to move all the way from Cuba via Canada to be here in the UAE?
So it's a fascinating story, by the way, and it's a lot about, coincidences and casualties. It wasn't actually planned. So I was the head of the International Patient Care in institute in Cuba in 2018, 2017. So in that around that time, so some people encouraged me to do a presentation about stem cells in a big trade event in Havana. So in this event, some people then approached me. Let's say, listen, we have some interest in establishing a stem cell center in the UAE.
So they went all the way to Havana to listen to you?
Yeah. Some people went there, yeah. I decided first to go to Canada. So I go to Canada. We do some stem cell work there in Canada. Later on, I come back to Cuba, and I said, listen, I'll see if we can do something in Abu Dhabi. If we can help to establish something like that there. Yeah. So when I get here, I found a great place to actually not only implement a center like that, but to move it forward to international scale. Yeah.
What is the fundamental purpose of the Stem Cell Center in Abu Dhabi?
Our fundamental mission is to tackle in a curative approach, trying to solve the problem, not trying to treat the problem, but try to solve it. Important healthcare issues that affect not only the UAE, but the world. Okay, so we always talk about cancer as one of the most important leading cause of death in the world. For example, this is one of our priorities. Diabetes is also an important disease that we want to tackle. Parkinson, Alzheimer, multiple sclerosis. But again, trying to find an innovative approach for which we can help the patient, cure the patients in the future. I think it's possible in the next 5 to 10 years. I think we can get there.
So, I mean, in order to do this, because you mentioned very different types of diseases, right? You must have so many different types of specialists that go to Abu Dhabi to be part of the center.
That's correct.
Have you recruited them from this region? Are they from across the world? And give me an idea of the types of different specialists that you need in order to deliver against that purpose that you just said.
So I can give you what is, again, is my experience that some people might find it biased because I'm an immunologist, right? But it's the experience we have, and anyways, ADSCC has been successful in proving this in the healthcare field. So there are fundamental, basic and fundamental sciences that can support to go across these different specialties. One of them is immunology. So when you learn immunology, you can really understand the fundamental problems in the different diseases, autoimmune diseases, cancer, degeneration, aging, all the things. You can really understand it. So these specialties are extraordinarily important to understand what is happening in a sick organism or in a healthy organism. So you start from there, and later on you start building kind of potential solutions for curing patients or helping patients or even extending the lifespan. So coming back to your question, we're starting with those specialties, but also we start bringing people from different areas, different countries in the world that support us to establish the definitive programs in each one of the specialties. So we didn't stay only with immunology and molecular biology, but also rheumatologists, surgeons, specialists in cancer, hematologists, all of them to come together to help us to establish a successful program there.
Is it primarily research or is it treatment that you're
That is actually a very important question. There are very little centers in the world that do a holistic approach when it comes to research. So you see a lot of, let's say, universities doing a very important fundamental and basic research. From another part, you see hospital providing, healthcare services, and from the other part, you see pharmaceutical companies, creating medications and distributing medications. Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center, let's say, is all that in one place. So you have a place where we do research and we do experiments even with mice and rats. It's super fascinating. Another place in which we treat patients, and another place in which we manufacture our cellular therapy. So all these within one roof, which accelerated enormously the speed of innovation in healthcare. So we do all that together.
It must be tremendously expensive to pull in all these different experts, get the technology, build the hardware, the software, whatever you need in order to provide a full 360 solution that you
believe it or not, it's quite cheaper than the conventional way, because at the end you can do things much faster, optimizing resources, instead of going years and years of expending millions and millions in a specific project that later on will take you nowhere. So for us, has been really, really very cost effective.
Before I ask any questions, I always ask my guests on the show for a safe word. If there's a question that they don't feel comfortable in answering, do you have a safe word in mind?
Let's say bad cell.
Bad cell.
Yeah.
Naughty cells. We don't like those bad cells.
Some of them.
We're going to get rid of those bad cells.
Let's say zombie cells. Nobody likes zombies, so let's call it like that. Zombie cells.
Zombie cells.
Yeah.
Zombie cells?
They exist, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zombie cells.
How do you know if someone has a zombie cell?
Actually, everybody has zombie cells.
So I have them.
You have it. I have
You
it.
have them.
Yeah, I have them. We just need to keep them under control.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. So simply speaking, what is stem cell therapy? Really break it down to the layman out there, the person that like myself who wouldn't necessarily know.
So for that, I think that you have to understand fundamentally what stem cells are, right? So stem cells, I like to call them building blocks of organs and organism, right? But they are the fundamental structure from which you create tissues and organs. And later on, the fundamental structures that repairs damages in tissues and organs. So all our organism and every living organism came somehow from stem cells, from the very primordial stem cells. And then you build an organism completely from it.
Yes.
But later on, when your tissues start damaging and becoming old, those stem cells are in charge of repairing it and extending your lifespan, right? Yeah. So this is what stem cells are. Okay. Now, what stem cell therapy is actually a part of the field of regenerative medicine, which is basically the intention of healthcare professionals to regenerate any tissue or organ that has been affected by diseases, trauma, or aging. So this is what exactly is.
Very nice. Why did you get into this? Is there something, I mean, is there was a personal reason growing up in Havana, maybe that you looked around and you wanted, I don't know. Because it's not a common thing, I'm guessing, right?
It's not.
And Cuba is not known, is it known for its stem cells?
Actually, we do have a good program.
Okay. I stand corrected. Okay.
No, we do have a very good program for stem cells, and we do, for example, stem cell transplant since the 80s, long time.
So why did you get into it?
I have no idea.
Okay. Sounds like a good idea.
So listen, there are a lot of things that happen in your life that you never thought about it. It had to start with the fact that I was never inclined to go for medicine.
Okay.
So I became a medical doctor, but I never wanted to study medicine.
Okay.
I studied medicine because I wanted to give that gift to my mother. She was my main motivation to become a doctor. She wanted me to be a doctor, so I said, okay, I have no other kind of, I don't want to do
anything nothing else better to do, we might as well.
Let's go for medicine. Yeah. So I went for medicine. And then later on, when I graduated from the medical school, I went to my specialty in immunology. And when I finished my specialty, I have to select amongst like 5 workplaces, whichever I want. One was for cancer research. Another one was for vitiligo and psoriasis, skin disease. Another one was in the scientific pole, in the scientific part of the Cuban industry, research in cancer and so on. And another one was in the National Institute for Hematology and Immunology. So I selected this one. I have no idea why. Yeah. I go there, they do an interview with me, and they tell me, listen, I have this program for you. Stem cell research. You want to do it? Yeah, okay, let's do it.
You're a professor.
Yeah.
Right. But you don't like to be called professor.
No, I don't like that.
Because it's stuffy? You feel like it's a bit university style?
I think, I don't like the spotlight that much. So when you call somebody professor, it's like you are paying extra respect to him. Yeah. Whenever I don't think it's still... I am there, I'm a normal person. I'm a doctor, probably a scientist, but still there are a lot of people that they taught me a lot, and even if I teach in universities and so on, I prefer to be called in a plain Yendry or Dr. Yendry. That's it.
So help me contextualize what you know in this amazing mind of yours, because obviously you're an incredibly talented and smart person. How many people on the planet know what you know, or could do what you do?
I'm sure many of them. There are many people that can do even better than me, honestly. Now, will they do it in the same moment that I did it? In the same place? There are a lot of combinations. It's not only about the person. It's about the ecosystem the person is living. It's about the facilities that is given to this person to do it. And ultimately about the decision this person is going to take. So it's not even about the knowledge. You might have the knowledge, but you are not given the opportunity. Or you might be given the opportunity but you will not be enough prepared, or you will not be resilient enough to hold it. These 6 years hasn't been easy. It's not easy. So you need to go through really hard moments to get there. So I will tell you that in my field there are a lot of talented people. There are Nobel Prizes. There are very good researchers around the world. But I'm very proud that the UAE has created, and I'm telling you this, the best ecosystem to accelerate this field in the world right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you feel proud to be part of that?
It does.
Yeah. How many people work in the research center?
We have around 700, 800 people right now working there.
Wow, that's very
between
impressive.
researchers, doctors, and many other people.
Are you seeing autoimmune diseases on the increase over the last sort of decade?
Yeah.
Or are we just becoming more aware of it?
No, they increase.
So why are people getting more sick these days? I mean, that is the case, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the case, and it's an important question to understand. Epidemiology. Again, autoimmune diseases and allergic diseases are important examples of the increment of the prevalence of diseases and the incidence of diseases in the world. There is an important theory that is called the old friends theory, or the hygiene theory, that says that we have been cleaning up a lot of important microorganisms from our bodies, from our microbiota. This microorganism plays a very important role in keeping our immune system trained and under control. So when you get rid of them, sometimes your immune system might go out of control, and then therefore the explanation why we have more autoimmune diseases and allergic diseases. There are many other also reasons as well. But
so basically, getting rid of the good bacteria effectively is becoming an issue.
Exactly.
Are people washing their hands enough, or they're washing them too much? And how did COVID impact that?
Honestly, I think it's too much. COVID definitely impacted, and COVID wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
But still, I think you need to keep your microbiota in good status, good health, for you also to be healthy.
On the topic of COVID, because obviously it was a big subject in health. It's been the biggest story in the last 20 years in healthcare, I'm guessing. What was your take on the vaccines? Because at the time, everyone was telling, we need a vaccine this, vaccine that, double up here, triple up there. What was your own personal take on the use of vaccines during COVID?
Definitely is important, a very important measure to do. We need to remember when COVID started, the impact that COVID had in the society, in economy, in the country, in the whole world.
Yeah.
So vaccination is one of the most important and crucial healthcare initiative or measures to control pandemics. So.
There's a lot of people who, some have actually been on the show where they've said, Doctor, they said that they are so against putting stuff into their bodies, and that's why people are getting more and more
sick. But you do that naturally. You do that every day. You go and you eat and you put in your mouth a lot of microorganisms and bacteria and toxins. You just don't realize about it. So I think we should pay more attention about eating healthy than putting a vaccine that might save your life from important infectious diseases.
Yeah. How many times did you get vaccinated during COVID?
I think like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, kept. I mean, I was taking everything at one point. Look, I think the truth is we are seeing people getting sick more and more. It's harder for people to get pregnant as well. I'm finding the stories are coming out. Are we leading generally more unhealthy lives than we were before? And is that what's causing all of the issues that we're facing when it comes to our autoimmune diseases?
Yeah, definitely. I think it comes again back to statistics. If you have only a population of 10 people in the world, probably none of them will have cancer, right? But if you have 2 billion, 3 billion people in the world, you will have more incidents of cancer, autoimmune diseases.
So what's the likelihood now of someone getting cancer? What percentage would you put against the likelihood of someone getting cancer?
It's difficult to say. Again, I'm not an expert, especially in cancer. I couldn't tell you the likelihood of getting it. What I can tell you is that most of us, almost maybe every of us, we have cancer cells at some point. And our immune system is in charge of control this cancer cell and keep them under control and do not let them expand uncontrollably. So that's the importance of having a healthy lifestyle, okay, of eating healthy, exercising, etc. So, yeah.
There's a lot of people that talk about conspiracy theories when it comes to cancer treatments, and that someone's cured cancer a decade or decades ago, and the cure does exist, but it's more profitable for the big pharmas, etc., to make money on treatments. What would you say to that?
There are a lot of speculation about that too. I couldn't deny it because I don't know if somebody actually found the cure of cancer, but I have been with my team doing a lot of research in cancer, and it's not easy. Cancer is extraordinarily difficult to treat, extraordinarily difficult to control, extraordinarily difficult to find a cure for it. So maybe somebody already did it, and they keep it hidden. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is from our point of view, it's really difficult to get there. I think we are getting there. In the next few years, I think we'll have enormous breakthrough in terms of cancer treatment, especially with cellular therapy and combined therapy. These two alternatives, I think they will really help us to control cancer. But
inshallah, as we say in the
inshallah. But finding a kind of a magic bullet that is going to cure, all these diseases and cancer, I find this very unlikely.
You were also part of the team that launched the first bone marrow transplant.
Correct.
In Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about bone marrow transplant treatments.
Important bone marrow transplant treatment, because if you want to talk about stem cells, you need to start with that. That is the actual stem cell treatment. The first one approved, and so far I think it's the only one that is internationally accepted and approved. And it's proven that helps you treating and sometimes curing blood cancers. Sometimes you can use it also for solid tumors and for autoimmune diseases as well. So when we came here in 2018 in the UAE, we found out we didn't have any bone marrow transplant program. And this got even worse with the pandemic, because our patients used to travel abroad to take treatment. During the pandemic, they couldn't travel anymore. So we had the means in Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center, as I mentioned before. We have the laboratory arm, the manufacturing place, also medical facilities. Yeah. So we provide this advice to the leadership, and the leadership, of course, they are wise enough, and they say, listen, please do it, go ahead. Yeah. And we established in 2020 the first BMT program in the country.
It's amazing. A lot of people, when they think about bone marrow transplants, I think they actually take the bone marrow. No, they just take the blood from the bone marrow. Right?
But
there's no bone that gets taken out.
Because before it was done like that. Before you have to go to the OR, and they have to take the bone marrow from your bones, and it was a little bit.
Now it's just blood work. I'm guessing.
Now you just hook up to a machine and they take the stem cell from there.
Am I impressing you with my medical knowledge?
You are spot on.
You're a very kind man. Thank you so much. We did so. I have two boys. And when my eldest was born 3 years ago, there wasn't a place to store the stem cells from is it the placenta that
cord blood?
Yeah,
or umbilical cord,
you would know more. So they would take into the UK for storage. For my second son, actually, we weren't allowed to do that anymore, and actually, it's now being hosted here in the UAE. So was there regulation that changed with people being able to sort of keep stem cells, especially around the birth of kids?
Yeah, there are a lot of changes in regulations, especially in stem cells. And what you have to understand from a biologics point of view is that they are an important source of information for any country and for yourself as a patient, all right? So you don't want your cells to be flying over back and forth. They can lose viability. They can, later on.
And also hurts the environment, right? Too much.
When you try to use them, maybe they will not work. So you will pay all this money to preserve it, and it will not work. So we already established the capabilities in the UAE to store all the stem cells you want. So it's
crazy because it was just within 2 years, because my sons are only 2 years apart. So it was crazy how quickly the UAE were to establish themselves.
Yeah.
Doctor, are you ready to take charge of the show?
Go ahead.
Yeah. In my bag, there's a bunch of golf balls. On the golf balls, there are questions. I would love you to take charge. Take the bag, read out one question at a time, and we'll take it from there. All right?
Let's go.
Go for it, mate. Go.
This is a very nice one.
All right, here we go.
The treatment or the doctor?
So what's more important? Is it the treatment, right, with all the amazing facilities and technology breakthroughs, or is it the actual doctor calling the shots behind it?
Yeah.
What's more important?
I will tell you the patient is the most important.
No. You can't. No. You got to choose one. Is it the treatment or is it the doctor? As a given, the patient will always be
this priority. Is only two exits.
You got the treatment or the doctor. What's more important?
Just to make the highlight, always should be the patient the most important. But I will follow this one, right? Treatment or the doctor. I think both of them are as well important. However, the doctor plays a very, very crucial kind of role that nobody can take away from him, which is the spiritual.
Or her.
Yeah, or her. Yeah. The spiritual kind of healing, the human touch. Yeah. That part doesn't come with injections. That part doesn't come with the painkillers. Yeah. That part doesn't come even with the most advanced cancer treatment. That only can be given by a caregiver. And when I say doctor, I want to make a special attention also to every other caregiver, like nurses, healthcare allies, that they are as important or more
100%
than the doctor 100%. To give this kind of treatment to the patient.
Do you think they spend enough time in doctor school telling the doctors that they are just treating other humans? Because I've seen firsthand doctors, what separates the best from the okay is that treatment of the patient and how they speak to them, how they relate to them, how they are human with them. Do you think they spend enough time at medical school telling the doctors how to interact with patients?
There are many medical schools. I can give you my experience and the experience of the universities that I'm related to. I will tell you that it maybe is good from the academic point of view, but it's never enough. It will never be enough. The most important part of being a doctor is igniting that human value that you need to have to treat your patients.
Do you think you get better I agree with you. Do you think you get better as a doctor with age and experience?
Definitely.
But you may lose some of the cutting edge treatments potentially that are more available to the newer doctors out there.
No, you get better. Doctors are almost most of the time very updated in the new technologies, and they're very kind of
and they're willing to change. They're willing to try new things.
Okay. This is very common in doctors because we know that every day something changes in medicine. So
I had a doctor when I was growing up that every time I was sick, I had a stomach problem. He kept giving me 7-Up. Don't ask me why, but he thought that was the best way to cure whatever was going on in my stomach. And I'm sure there's some people who are watching this like, they can relate to that. Cold 7-Up. Not that this show is sponsored by 7-Up, but there are some doctors out there who very much used to the more traditional methods, let's say, of treatment.
Why 7-Up?
Don't ask me. I have no idea.
Okay, UAE, a medical underdog, or soon to be a giant?
So is the UAE a medical underdog in today's world, or based on kind of similar to what you said before, is it a soon-to-be medical giant?
UAE is a very young country compared with the people we're talking to, and we're capable to seat the biggest, healthcare institutions around the world and show extraordinary results that most of them don't have. If you talk about genomics, we have the best genomic program in the world.
And they take you seriously?
They do. We recently had one of the biggest stem cell conference, in the region, probably the biggest stem cell conference in the region. We brought more than 50, speakers from, many countries in the world, starting from the United States, Italy, Switzerland, Japan, the giants in cellular therapy. They were here to share with us and to talk seriously. Our country is already on the top, and we will be much better in the next few years.
So if someone is out there who needs cellular therapy, you think the UAE is as good as anywhere else in the world?
They can give as good and better than many of them. They can come here and receive the most advanced type of cellular therapy that they can receive in any other part of the world.
Amazing.
With all the confidence, I can tell you that. We do that. So
when I was growing up as a kid, a lot of the time, the Middle East, they would perceive Europe and the US to be the most advanced when it comes to treatments. That's no longer the case?
It's no longer the case. Still, you need sometimes to change the paradigm of people wanting to travel abroad and take the best treatment from, Germany, United States, Italy. Yeah. But it's just changing the mindset of the patients. Yeah. You don't have to travel anymore. Here in the country, you have everything you need to take the best treatment, okay, with the best healthcare providers in the best institutions, the best of best.
How does it make you feel? Pretty proud, right?
I'm super proud. Yeah. Just a very small part of it, but I was part of it, and for me, it's professionally, it's the top.
Should we do another question?
Ready? Let's go.
Yeah. So,
new breakthrough medicine or trusted evolution? So what do you mean?
So, new breakthrough medicine or trusted evolution? New breakthrough medicine, sometimes someone develops something overnight. They come through an amazing, successful breakthrough that they think can change the game. Do you place more importance on that or an evolution of the science to perfect the craft and the treatment? So what would you trust more on? What's more important, breakthrough medicine or evolution of science?
So I think evolution of science. And the reason why I think that is because behind us, a lot of people have come and they have provided a lot of data, insight, and knowledge from where we learn. So if you actually find something like a breakthrough, like for coincidence, somebody discovered a new penicillin, like what happened many years ago, it's not that it's not as that. It's you actually had the help of a lot of people that gave you the learning experience, the experiments, the failures they made, the success they made, and that's evolution in terms of science. The amount of startups and brilliant minds that are working right now in the medical field to discover treatment, to work in longevity, to work in prevention rather than treatment. it tells you that there is a lot of combined effort, and this is inheritance. It comes from generation to generations, from the old generation to the new generation of scientists. So this is what I believe more. I don't believe in that, again, as a magic bullet. Somebody is going to find the magic bullet, and with this you can find the panacea and cure everything.
Do you think AI can help with that now?
Definitely.
How big a role does AI play in medicine?
It can go up to 80-90% of the protagonism of finding the new cures of disease in the future. Simply because of the capacity that AI has to analyze the enormous amount of data that we have right now, so that simply the human being cannot do it, but AI can do it. AI will replace the human interaction? No, I don't think so. It's going to support us, it's going to help us to go faster and to find solutions faster, but definitely without AI, I don't think we will be able to do it as fast as we can.
Okay. There's some more AI questions coming, so I'm gonna park that one. I'm gonna build on. Let's keep going.
Okay. Biggest public misconception about stem cell therapy.
What's the biggest misconception about stem cell therapy?
This is the best question so far. This is important. Stem cells is not a cure for everything. Okay, this is something that everybody needs to understand. A stem cell is another tool that your physician has to treat any condition that you might have. Okay, but it's not going to be the panacea of everything. It's not right now. So people think about stem cell. This is a magic wound in which my wounds are going to be healed. It doesn't work like that. It's medicine. It requires also other interventions. It requires human intervention. It requires even the patient help. For example, if you're going to use stem cells for orthopedic problems because you have arthritis, do stem cells and do physiotherapy. It's going to go 100% better.
My knees are hurting me a little bit these days. I'm getting old, doctor.
It's definitely going to help you. Yeah. Okay, you don't look old, by the way. You look like 25.
So I appreciate that. Come again.
So again, this is, I think, is the biggest misconception, because we do have a lot of people thinking their patient at the end they want to find hope in whatever illness.
So it's not that magic bullet where it's going to solve everything.
No,
but I would also say another misconception that people would have about stem cell therapy is the cost. It's very expensive to do.
Yeah,
and that's only available for the rich. Debate, is that true or not?
No, it's not true at all.
You think it's accessible to many?
It is very accessible. It might get more accessible in the future, when we start proving in clinical trials the real efficacy of the application of stem cells in some fields. So this can become part of the insurance system in different countries. But right now, it's not cheap, but it's affordable. Still, you can get access to it. Okay. Yeah. Some people in some institution will charge a lot of money for some stem cell treatment, but I don't recommend going with them.
Okay, let's do another question.
So how will patients be treated by 2050?
So what will that look like?
Again, you need to bring AI here into the equation.
By the way, I brought you this. You haven't. What do you think about this? My wife helped create this. It's sort of an AI-generated image of all things kind of relevant to you, I think, I hope. But
I love it.
Yeah.
I need to frame it and take it to my house.
Yeah, so we'll send this to you for sure. But by the way, we're keeping your Victoria Ventura mug that's staying with us.
Okay.
That's the exchange that we have to do.
No problem.
So you're saying that AI is going to play a huge role, and it obviously is at the moment. But by 2050, what will that look like?
Yeah, not only AI. Healthcare normally you can divide it in different levels. Okay, primary healthcare, secondary, tertiary, and even quaternary. So primary healthcare is more about promotion of health and prevention. Okay. Secondary, you already go to the hospital. Tertiary, you go to the hospital but go to a specialized care.
Yep.
And the fourth level, when you also go to rehabilitation and extra steps for that. So right now, the healthcare industry is focused on secondary and tertiary level mostly. We need to bring it down to the primary level, when you can promote health and prevent diseases. And I think this is where we're going.
But, and I'm going to challenge you on this.
Okay.
I haven't challenged you yet so far.
Go ahead.
There's not a lot of money in prevention. There's more money in the treatment.
Why is that?
Why is it? I don't know, because it's complex. Technology costs a lot. Treatments cost a lot. Doctors, specialists cost a lot of money. Whereas if you prevent a disease, there's not a lot of money for the big healthcare manufacturers, farmers to make. So,
correct. Yeah.
So it's in the patient's interest to focus on one, but as a business, is it in the interest of the hospitals to focus on one?
So at the end, it comes down to the ecosystem and the role that the ecosystem plays on that. We have many players in the ecosystem. Yes, you have pharma industry, but also you have governments and insurance and other players that also are interested in having a healthier population and a population that live longer. And the pressure that the society is gonna put on that also is gonna grow every time. Every time people want to live longer and healthier. So you need to go to that direction, no matter what, in the next years.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of virtual clinics. I think that a lot of prevention in terms of let's say AI-driven healthcare.
I think we'll get to a point where we're doing self-diagnosis.
I think it's possible. It's possible. Everything can be. You need to have an open mind if you want to be a scientist. It's possible, but it's risky as well. Self-diagnosis without oversight can be dangerous because it's going to take you to self-treatment, and self-treatment is potentially lethal in some cases.
Like 7-Up.
7-Up. Well, 7-Up is it's okay.
It's not lethal,
problem. But something
Don't
can
drink too much.
Really, that you find a lot of crazy things on the internet. People taking weird recipes to take you out the
President Trump was drinking bleach during the pandemic.
I cannot comment on that. Really, really.
Come on, you can comment a little bit. You can comment a little bit.
Anyone can drink, bleach. You need to do something.
When you first heard that, what was your first instinct as a doctor?
War has become crazy.
Yeah, the world has definitely become. I can agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so by 2050, everything is possible. Where will that leave people like yourselves?
They're still doing the things we do.
You think by then it will still be? We wouldn't have made enough advancements. We won't be able to focus more on the prevention side, so that we can avoid the treatment side of Medicare.
Yeah, I think we will be able to look more at the societal impact of our research. A problem that we have right now across the world is that scientists look too narrowly to target.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't foresee what is the impact of that intervention into society.
Will we have been able to have cured cancer by then?
Oh, definitely. I'm absolutely confident.
How close are we? How close are we to curing it?
Listen, when you talk about curing disease, and this is again something that everybody need to understand, it's not about having a pill that cure a patient. It's about having an intervention that cure your population. Okay, so you need to bring together a lot of definitions that it doesn't apply only to medicine. Yeah. It applies to accessibility, applies to epidemiology, applies to people's genetic background. So I think we will be able to find cure for cancer, but will something else rise up?
Just on the point of genetic background, you just triggered a thought. Is there a genetic makeup from, let's say, different parts of the world that's naturally stronger than others?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Who has the best genes out there?
Well, I will not comment that because that will be my bad self. But definitely, there is an important genetic marker that helps the human population to be more resilient against specific diseases, and this is called HLA, human leukocyte antigen. So we don't share the same. This is actually the same molecule that we measure or we evaluate when we want to do a transplant, any transplant, kidney transplant, bone marrow transplant. If you and me are compatible, you can be my donor or I can be your donor. But if we are not compatible, you cannot donate to me, right? This same molecule is the one that guarantees that the population answers against a disease is going to be strong enough to do not wipe out completely humanity in a pandemic status, all right? So the advantage to some population to, for example, to fight infectious diseases or cancer.
Which populations tend to be the strongest?
Listen, for instance, I don't have all the data, but Italy had a very rough time during COVID. This is one example. While other countries, they didn't have a rough time.
Yeah.
And I believe that this is intrinsically, related to the HLA expression of the Italian population.
You know I'm half Italian, right?
Yeah, I know. So don't get COVID.
Don't get COVID. I had it actually. On the blood types, so O negative obviously is a universal donor, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You can give to everybody.
Yeah.
Is there, in the similar line of questioning, is there a certain type of population that has stronger genes that would be better to be as donors because they'd be more readily accepted by the host? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it might be, but this data is not available yet.
So it doesn't work like that based on blood, like similar to blood.
Because at the end we have a lot of mixture.
Genetic biology we
have a lot of mixture in our genetics everywhere. It's very rare to find a pure kind of a DNA population anywhere around the world.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So
especially here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Should we do another question?
Another more.
Yeah.
So, what role is there for spirituality in science?
What role is there for spirituality in science?
What do you think first? I would like to know.
Look, I believe there is a role for both. I think there are some people who are hard fast all about science and some who are hard fast all about spirituality and their religion and their belief system and what can cure, what can't cure. I think anything in extreme is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be more room for spirituality in science. I had my brother had a very bad injury when he was 17 before he went to the States. He went to go see a specialist, a knee specialist, because he had a horrific break of his knee, all of his ligaments, the actual kneecap as well. A lot of it was broken. He did a lot of judo, and someone threw him in a way that sort of really dismantled his knee. And the doctor at the time basically said, whatever happens, told my parents, whatever happens, I don't think your son will ever walk again. I'm not going to name the doctor, but if you've researched him, he's literally one of the top 3 doctors in the world when it comes to the knee. Okay, so we went to go see him. My family was fortunate enough to meet with him. And he says, I'm going to help, I'll do everything I can, but I don't think he's ever going to walk again. So long story short, they performed the treatment went well, but the doctor didn't know how it was going to go. 6 months later, my brother was able to start walking again. And I remember a conversation that the doctor had because he came to our house. And he told my parents that I have no idea how this has happened, and this is a miracle. He literally said, and this is someone who's spent years studying and being an expert in this field. And he called it out. He said, I don't know how this has happened. Now, you could call him humble or not. You can call him whatever you like. But when a doctor says that this is a miracle, and he uses that actual word, it makes you think, right, that even the most ardent scientific minds in the world sometimes have to have a bit of faith. So I think there is a lot of room for spirituality in science, but like with everything, it should never be too extreme.
I think you're right. I'll tell you something. I have very strong faith. I'm a science guy, but my faith is even bigger than the belief I have in scientific tools. And this is going to challenge a lot of people that they do science.
Yeah.
Okay, no, but I don't care. For me, it's really important that people understand that whichever opinion you have in terms of science, even scientific fact, is your opinion. All right, even if you study it, even if you manage to prove in your experiment that this is working in this way, it still remains your opinion. It still remains the way you look at the world. And it still remains the way that a group of people like you is looking at the world and the world phenomena. But science is actually challenged science itself multiple times and contradicting rules that should be, unbreakable in a lot of time. So there has to be, and I think the number one rule of science should be for every scientific in the world, have an open mind. Understand that you don't know everything. Understand that our level of ignorance is bigger, thousands and millions of times, than our level of knowledge. Therefore, there have to be a room for faith. There's have to be a room for spirituality. So the things that happen in our daily life are much more complex than a couple of numbers in an Excel sheet to make a calculation, even driven by AI.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think the UAE is the perfect blend of that. I think there's a lot of deep faith in this part of the world, but there's also a lot of room for science as well. So I think you're in the right place. Should we do another question?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Your biggest fear about healthcare. My biggest fear about healthcare. So healthcare is there for an important mission, and when we become doctors, we swear an oath of helping the patients, the sick, the unfortunate. Then at some point we become absorbed in every part of the world, okay, by the healthcare system. And we're not doctors anymore. This is important. We're a healthcare worker.
Yeah.
So you cannot forget never where you're coming from and what your university and the people that came before you taught you about how important it is to keep patients as number one priority. Therefore, my biggest fear of healthcare is that we become absolutely and only financially driven and numbers driven. Healthcare needs to always be human driven and patient driven. And I think that, again, countries like the UAE is one of the best examples of a healthcare being driven to the human care. There are a lot of initiatives that come directly from our leadership that are focusing only in providing solutions for people that are suffering from a specific kind of diseases that, in any other part of the world, people don't even care. So keeping that oath is important for all the physicians. And we actually drive healthcare, physicians and nurses and healthcare allies, as I said before. So that will be my worst fear about it, that we might not be able to provide what we promise.
The only thing that I agree with you fully, the only thing I would add to that is that a potentially even greater fear is if you get a bad doctor who has bad intentions to put you through treatments that you don't necessarily need, to put you through pain that you don't necessarily need.
Then you are not with a doctor.
Yeah.
Under our definition of
yeah.
doctor, he's just a person that got a diploma.
Yeah.
Okay? But under the real definition of doctor, this person is not a doctor.
Do
not do harm.
Yeah.
Primum non nocere. This is our oath.
Yeah.
We cannot ever allow doing harm to any of our patients. It doesn't matter what are the interests behind it, and it doesn't matter who the patient is.
Yeah, look, there are some very complex topics that err on ethics, err on what's the right thing to do, err on what's right for the patient. Euthanasia is one of the most hotly discussed and debated topics. Is it the patient's right if the patient doesn't want to live anymore and they're leading their life is so poor in quality that they just don't want to be there anymore? Is it the patient's right to take their own life, or do you think the doctor has the moral obligation to try and preserve as long as possible?
That is a debate that has been out there for many years. Again, it could be a place for me to say bad lab or bad cells. I don't remember the other one.
You're safe for it. Yeah.
However, I will give you my opinion.
Okay.
Again, this is very personal because of the way I was trained as well. It might be the patient right, but is it the doctor's duty? You as a doctor, do you have you really been given with the authority to take somebody else's life? And would you do it if you have the chance to do it? So, from the responsibility point of view, euthanasia, from the doctor, this is not what we're there for. This is not our mission. We're not there to provide a death. It doesn't matter how you want to call it, to patients. We're there to relieve pain, to give hope, to cure. This is our mission. It's not the opposite. So this is my personal opinion on that stake. But whatever happens in the regulations in the future, again, it's not up to it is not up to us. Of course, autonomy for the patient, autonomy that's important to keep in mind. But again, it's a very important ethical dilemma.
There's a very thin line, right? And there's a big moral dilemma. I mean, I know doctors personally. I've got two sisters who are also doctors, and we ask them the question: who has the right to end life? And if you're a religious person, it's one of the gravest sins is to take your own life. But then again, if you're seeing someone that you love so much suffer and all they want is to end their own life, then you're getting into territory where who really has the final say? Is it the patient or is the doctor? And I guess we'll never really know unless it happens within our families or even to ourselves. We'll never really know the answer to that. And I generally don't think there is a right or wrong answer because it's so difficult to make that call. I generally feel that it comes down to the situation, and I don't envy anyone who has to go through that. But there are people in the world who are faced with these dilemmas constantly. Yeah. Their quality of life is so bad. They don't want to keep going through chemo. They don't want to keep trying these treatments. They don't want to be sitting alone, in an isolated room, or be in a vegetable state where they have no chances of recovery. It's a very difficult thing. And as doctors, you guys must go through so much ethical dilemmas, and and you have a moral responsibility, but you also have an oath that you swore. So you lead a very difficult life, I can imagine. And death is something that you have to get used to, right?
It's not something you never get used to be honest. Sometimes, you become a little bit stronger to face it. But you never get used to people leaving you. Yeah. No matter if it's your patient, if it's your relative or friends or acquaintance, doesn't matter. So I don't think the world still is ready to give that step to decide, whether if it's the right decision or not. And again, from my point of view as a doctor, even if the decision could be from somebody, yes, I don't think the doctor should be the one that is given this task.
Yeah, it's not fair on them.
Yeah, it's not what we're there for.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not what what we saw is. Yeah, it goes against our moral compass.
Yeah, 100%. Should we do another question? I'll pick a more lighter question. Let's see what we have still in there. Yep.
AI and stem cell regeneration. Terminators.
Okay, so AI.
Debate, huh?
Yeah, AI and stem cells equals Terminators.
Okay.
Right, you've seen the movie back in the 80s, Terminator, with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Definitely.
Look, I worry about the advances that people can make to try and break through science, and that what they're willing to become famous to do and to create. And once you've created something, it's very difficult to go back, right? Yeah. So I worry that we are going to a point of no return in the wrong hands, right? If you watch the movie trilogy of the Terminator and Terminator Salvation, all that, the world kind of goes to an end because of, the AI takes control of the machines and learn how to manipulate cell biology. So is the world coming to an end, or are we all going to be okay?
No, and I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, you have knives here in your house, right?
Yeah, we do.
So this is exactly like that. You have knives.
It's not exactly like that. I mean, you're talking about...
You might take it on a bigger scale, of course, because at the end, the impact that you can make with a click can affect hundreds of thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
But at the end is that. It's a tool. The tool is not evil.
It's the people using the tool.
That's why the people that might be behind that it might say, okay, this can, just for the sake of whatever, it can be potentially dangerous. It is possible.
Yeah.
Okay, it is definitely possible, and it's definitely possible that you bring these two big giants together, like stem cell that has all the potential in the world to create whatever you want, and AI that also has the potential to create whatever you want together. But I think that, in generally speaking, humanity has a deep sense of social responsibility, that you will not be allowed to do whatever you want to do with the stem cells and AI without being seen or approved or accepted. I don't think a supervillain is going to come and out of the middle of the sea in an island is going to create a weapon, is going to kill everybody. No, all these things are done under controlled environment, under regulations, under agencies that take care of society, safety of the society. So
the world's not coming to an end.
No, not at all.
And you think that the people who are in charge of this technology, this AI, the cell therapies, they are going to do the right thing?
Because I cannot bet for whatever people is going to do in the future, but I can tell you is that there are two forces in this world. There are the not good forces, and there are the good forces too.
Yeah.
What I think is that people also that have controls over other kind of sources can, have some kind of control over whoever is wanting to do something bad.
Yeah.
So again, you cannot think that evil is there just walking alone in the street. No, we have good people.
But money corrupts. Fame corrupts, power corrupts.
Yeah.
And if you created something that is going to be...
But hope and spirituality keeps you there.
I hope that's the case. Look, I'm an optimist, and I know you have to remain positive. But I've had many guests on the show, and I've asked them questions, and it goes down to the essence of a person. Are they fundamentally good or not? Most people are, but when you give them something, it's very difficult for them to let that go. So if you give someone an idea, or you give someone an opportunity to have real power, taking it away from them, that's not going to be easy to do. So, and the reality is money does corrupt. Influence, power, these are all corruptible things that are associated with the most powerful people in the world. And they've got there for a reason. And, they've got there by doing things that potentially are relatively questionable. So my hope is that we don't face this world where we've created an army of Terminators in the future, because everything is set out to be in a good intention. When they created the H-bomb, when they created they all have good intentions, kind of, in a way. They want to try and cure something else or create something else. But mankind, if you look at history, has a way of turning good intentions into disastrous consequences. And
I'm more in the optimistic side. I think the way that this could be implemented is by creating actually value for society. Honestly, I think, because at the end I'm also involved somehow in some tasks related to cellular therapy, AI, and you cannot rule out the important, the deep sense of social responsibility that scientists and stakeholders has in any given place. You might see 2 or 3 people that they might not be trustworthy, but I can tell you that you will have an army of people that you might not see that they're doing the right thing. Okay. So I have traveled everywhere. I have gone to every country. Many countries in the world. I know many scientists. I know many people that I work with, and I'm proud to work with them because of their ethics and their, the moral values and the moral compass they have.
Yes.
And this is encouraging. I mean,
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm relieved to hear that.
It's not 1 or 2 people. There's a lot of people working towards, peace, prosperity, curing diseases, things like that.
Good.
Progression.
I'm relieved.
Yeah.
Should we do a final question?
Oh, how does it feel to be given the UAE nationality?
So how does it feel to be given the UAE nationality?
So, first of all, it was a big surprise, right? I wasn't thinking about that when they granted to me. We were really deep into treating COVID in the midst of the pandemic. Putting our life in risk there. We didn't know what COVID was. It was a really hard time for everybody, but we weren't afraid. My team and I, very short number of people, we were going to every hospital to give the treatment to any patient that were sick and were needing our stem cell treatment at that point. And then later on, we implemented the bone marrow transplant program and other programs later on starting. And the leadership surprised me with, the recognition. Listen, you are part of this family. You have done something good for the country.
Amazing. And how was that feeling when they first told you?
First of all, you feel that you really don't deserve it, okay? Because you are not looking for it. It's not something that you were pursuing. So you think, listen, there are a lot of people also that they do good things. So I don't feel that you are actually the best employee or worker in the world, that you deserve to be recognized. But it makes you feel super proud of every single thing you have accomplished, and it gives you the motivation to give even more, giving back more. And this is what kept me also moving forward and pushing. So they said, the country trusts you, the leaders trust in you. You don't stop, just keep moving forward.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be here in the UAE versus everywhere else in the world. We're very fortunate.
We are, and I don't stop telling this to people, to everyone. Yeah. Even when I travel and you come back home, you really feel like it's completely different. It's completely different. You really feel like home. Yeah.
Should we do the last one?
Let's do
it.
Ethics and scientific progression, a difficult balance.
So we talked a little bit about this already with euthanasia and that balance between ethics and being able to sort of put that scientific progression. What role is there in ethics when it comes to science?
I think it's a fundamental tool to have.
Are all doctors ethical?
I cannot say all. They are all ethical. Of course, there are people that they do unethical practices sometimes.
Right. I'm going to give you now a chance to ask any question that you like, or to say anything that you want to say that you haven't yet said. I'm going to give you a blank ball, right? It's completely clear. So the power is yours, Doctor. Ask whatever you want to ask, or say whatever you want to say, and we'll wrap up the show.
What do you think, from your point of view, what should a doctor be, and what should the doctors and the scientists give you and give humanity and give society in the future.
So what I look for in a doctor is I look for them being an expert, first and foremost. I look for them being someone that inspires confidence, that I can trust, that I can believe in what they're saying, and that they fundamentally are going to want to look after me. That's all I care about, really. The opinions of a second doctor and third doctor shouldn't necessarily be required, provided the first doctor gives you the reality, but also gives it to you in a way that's human and makes you feel that he or she will do absolutely everything to make you feel as comfortable as possible. I'm fortunate enough, like I mentioned before, I've got two sisters, both are doctors, and I've seen some of the stuff that they have to go through when they come home. They tell me some really difficult decisions, or they've seen things with their own eyes that most people, should never see. And I always appreciate the fact that they care. And I think if you get a doctor that cares about you, you're going to win. And you shouldn't need to go to see a second or a third. Most people who go for a second or third opinion is either because they don't want to accept the truth that's been given to them, or they don't necessarily trust the doctor. So that's what I look for when I choose my doctors.
Sounds good. So what do you think that science should give you in the near future then?
I think science should give me things that are easy to understand. I think people can get lost in very complex words. And sometimes doctors, when you go into their room, they tell you these things that sound very, very smart, but as a normal person, we won't understand what they are. So I hope medicine simplifies a lot of the problems, the diagnosis, the prognosis, the treatment plan, the rehabilitation. I want that to be as simple as possible. And I want it to be as affordable and as accessible, because there's still a conception that, whether it's true or not, that being healthy is expensive, or remaining healthy can be expensive. And I think, I'm looking for the medical healthcare industry to try and make treatments accessible everywhere in the world, not just here in the UAE. We are one people at the end of the day, right? We all have the same issues. We all have blood running through our veins. We all get sick. So we should all be trying to aspire to have global standards in every single country that we go to.
Was it easy, this conversation for you? Well, you understood?
Yeah. I've really enjoyed having you on. You're an incredibly humble guy. You're an incredibly smart guy. It goes without saying. You wouldn't be where you are had you not been. And I think you've shared a lot of great insights on the show, and I really want to thank you for coming. You run a business in the day. You are a CEO, but at the same time, you're a doctor, first and foremost. But before all of that, you're a human, and I've really enjoyed the conversations around spirituality, around the ethical practices, and what it means to be a doctor in this day and age. So really thank you, Doctor, for being on the show.
Pleasure.
You're the first Cuban Emirati. I hope you're not going to be the last, because if they're all like you, then it's really my pleasure to get to know you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure being here.
So guys, please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching the Inside Track, and join me soon on the next episode.